Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves and cleaning all the tea leaf particles off of my off of my table here. So welcome, Cancer. Today we have the Hermit card, which maybe you are seeing and you're thinking, thank goodness. Thank goodness. It's time for me time, right? Some solitary, like self-care. Maybe going about this next section of time, kind of doing your own thing. To be solitary or to be in that kind of hermit mode, it doesn't mean that you have to be actually alone, right? Like every time we get the Hermit card, we're not like moving out of the family house, right? No, but we can definitely be in a solitary mode, in a hermit mode, and still be among our family, at our work, in our spaces that are kind of more of a social or public setting. But we just kind of switch into that kind of more introverted or in looking towards the interior type of vibe. Okay. So we're going to turn this bowl and then we're going to knock on it to be polite. Let me in. All right. So I want to say thank you so very much for deciding to click on this reading. It's always such a huge honor for me to be able to bring these messages to you. And so I'm happy to see ya. All right. So the first thing I'm seeing is we have, it looks like a reindeer, also mammaries. And this is often a sign, and you can see these two things here with the two dots, often a sign of motherhood, of the mother goddess, of fertility, of nurturing and, sustenance, really. And so with the reindeer, and here's the head, the eye, the antlers and the body down here and legs and so on. The reindeer is, in my mind, always related to, I keep saying reindeer. I meant deer, not a reindeer. A reindeer to me is very connected to the winter, okay? More of like a Saturnine landscape. But here we're looking at a deer, right? Like a stag, a buck, something like that. So this is related to a moment in your life where you are having a real revelation. And this, I believe, has a lot to do with your spiritual work. Now, there's a saying, the most sacred deer, right? And I am a pretty big fan of Castaneda. I wouldn't necessarily say that I follow the system exactly, but I am well versed in the realm of Castaneda and his thinking, or Don Juan. But he talks a lot about the stag, right, as being this kind of symbol of, vitality, virility, power. But also it is, when we experience the deer, the stag, in vision work, maybe even in the physical world, you're out on a hike, or, maybe you have property where you have deer coming through. And you come face to face with an animal like this. Now, if it's in the interior, if it's in the material world, both really indicate to me that this is the divine. This is spirit reaching out to you. Okay. Now, with the mammaries that we talked about, I do believe that this has a lot to do and is related to divine feminine consciousness, or what I like to think of from the Gnostic system as Sophia. Okay, who is Sophia? Who is the goddess Sophia? She is in kind of the line of Judaism and in Christianity, esoteric Christianity mostly now, although it used to be, you know, Coptic and the early kind of post Neoplatonism, the mysteries kind of coming into that early Christology or Christianity there in the Mediterranean and in near Middle East. And Sophia is considered the feminine consciousness, or like if you could think of a god form as being both masculine and feminine, which this is taught in almost every esoteric system, that we all contain both sides, right? And we are perfectly balanced in that way. But you know, our circumstances affect that, and the archetypes that we kind of dwell in affect that. But Sophia is, yeah, it is the female consciousness or side of God, right? So, and I'm not advocating this to be true or not true, or, you know, this is the system or not. I'm just very interested in religion, and especially goddesses. So, I think about in this particular context with this fertility goddess energy, yeah, this kind of very beautiful, like a light body, one that is kind of very a healer. You know, we all know a couple people, hopefully, in our lives, throughout our lives, maybe not all at the same time, but we will come across people who just have a very bright and light and almost kind of, what is the word? Almost kind of, if you imagine like an angel or a fairy, or, you know, something that has this almost kind of sparkly aura, right? And it is very much the feeling of, okay, if I ever had a question of like what a light worker would be, I know. I've met this person. They have this amazing energy. They're very, you know, almost etheric, right? Or, you know, like, whimsical. That's not exactly the word, but something like this, right? And I feel like for you, you've always been very drawn to this person, and almost like you have wanted to emulate that energy. But I believe that this is an energy that you have anyhow. Now, it's not the same, of course. We're all unique and we all kind of give off different impressions to people. But I feel like you are very much in that like mom energy, that maybe even dad energy, right? But a very nurturing, you know, there used to, a few years ago, there was this kind of meme that was going around where it was like mom friends. Now, it doesn't mean that you like actually are a mom or that you're even female or whatever, but this idea of the mom friend who is the person that's like, okay, now we got a text when you get home, so I make sure that you got home okay. And, you know, the first thing they ask when you see them, how are you doing? Are you hungry? Have you eaten? You know, this kind of vibe of like, they take care of everybody. That's just kind of their natural disposition. And I feel like, you know, you have more of that than you perceive yourself to be. Like you're a natural, nurturing entity, right? And so I feel like there is kind of this crossing over of, and it does feel like, it feels almost kind of like this, your spiritual work meeting kind of the energies that you already, you already have. It's not that like you need to go to school to become, well, I guess maybe you do. I think they have courses for like Reiki and that kind of thing. But, some people, they have to go and they have to learn the techniques. And I don't know, maybe you have to be licensed to do Reiki. I'm not even sure. I do some energy healing, a little bit of kind of the laying on of hands type of thing. But I'm by no means do I consider myself like a healer. And I definitely have not, I haven't gone to school for it or anything. So I'm not very learned as far as like the particulars and that. If you do know, put it in the comments. Let me know. I know there's a lot of Reiki practitioners that watch the readings. And what I'm getting around to is some people have to learn, right? Some people need to learn how to get to that place within self and activate it and use their skill to do the work they want to do. Then there are people who are just kind of born, a healer or a clairvoyant or, a medium or whatever it is. And I think for you, you are a natural healer. But I keep getting this feeling, and I'm looking at this. It looks like a warrior with the head of, again, the deer. Holding, it looks like, to me, the number 8 or infinity. And over here, the sword. Okay? And again, the 8, if you can see here, it kind of almost reminds me of, is it Moloch? Is that the one with the, listen, I'm not going to get into like all of the defilement of old gods, but, if you know who Moloch is, you might think, oh gosh, that's scary. But it is the, they have those old pictures of the bull with the furnace in the stomach area. Kind of, we're talking about a Wicker Man kind of situation, if you understand what I'm talking about. But I think for you, it's just this Hierophant energy, this warrior energy. Really, and this makes sense to me, you being a Cancer, especially because I'm married to a Cancer, and I've always loved Cancer people. My mom was a Cancer. I've had close relationships with other Cancers and stuff, and always like connect on the deepest level with Cancers. But what I know about Cancers is that sometimes it's hard for you to get out of kind of you build a safe place in your mind, like I can behave in these ways. And if I go outside of this, then I feel, I don't know, like people are going to judge me. I'm going to be perceived. However, I'll be uncomfortable. I don't want to go that far out. I don't, I might not like it. Kind of in that, like, your shell is always with you. Your home is with you. So I feel like there's this real sense of like, I have to take things so seriously. I always have to, I want to do it the right way. I want this to be done correctly. I'm going to follow the rules here, and even if it makes it more difficult, I'm going to stay that course. And there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the deal. When you get into doing magic or divination, or maybe you are, again, like I said, like a clairvoyant, a healer, a medium, or any of the things. Maybe you're an artist, maybe, whatever it is. I feel like you're at this point in your life where you are trying to break through some of these limitations that you have kind of built up around yourself. And I don't mean that you're limited or you have the inability to do things. That's not what I mean. But we all do this, right? I do this all the time with stuff. I say, I can't go and do that. I don't really like, put in any excuse. I don't like lights above my head. I don't like, being in a place that has too many people, unless it's like a concert, because then I'm just focused on the music. But I don't want to be around a lot of people, whatever. And it's limiting. It is limiting for me because I know, I might be uncomfortable in some situations, but to blanketly believe I can't do any of this ever because I might get a little bit anxious or scared or upset, or it might trigger kind of a meltdown kind of thing. And if you don't know, I'm neurodivergent. So is my husband and possibly my daughter. So these are considerations, but I've also learned in my life that when I say something like, I don't eat tomato sauce. I just, I'm not allergic. It bothers my tummy a little bit. I love it. It tastes good. But I always say, I can't do it. I can't do it. Well, guess what? I learned if I make it certain ways, I can do it. And, or if I put a little sugar in there to balance it, I can do it. But I believed for so long I couldn't. I just didn't eat it, and that's something that I think we all do in life. We get these beliefs in our head and we think, okay, this is where I'm safe. If I step out, something might happen. But what if that thing that might happen is something that's going to completely change the course of our life in a way that we want it to? Maybe we'll find something out about ourselves. Maybe we'll find something out about our journey that we otherwise would not have. So I feel like almost this goddess energy here is at odds with this Hierophant / warrior energy. Not directly exactly, but it's kind of like, okay, you're really good at like finding the data, the information, and processing it. But you gotta also remember the intuition. You gotta also remember maybe letting a little bit go. Maybe being outside of your comfort zone a little bit. Because listen, if you're a woman, we live a lot outside of our comfort zone for most of our lives. We have to. That's just the way the world is. And so I feel like this is kind of a rebalancing and a re-envisioning of self and of life and what you can't do, right? What you're willing to try. I feel like it's almost kind of like there's new lifeblood that's been breathed into yourself, into your life, into the journey that you're on, and I feel like it is very powerful. Now, we also have, it looks like a monkey running, okay? So I also feel like part of this is about figuring out how to have a little fun. Go and enjoy yourself. Find something that is for you. Find something that you want to do, you want to try. It doesn't matter if your family doesn't want to do it with you. It doesn't matter if like none of your friends are interested, or you ask people at work, hey, you want to, go try this out with me? Everybody's busy. They're a little bit, not getting back to you or whatever. Who cares? Don't let that stop you. Go and do it. Do the dang thing. Try it out. And so I see this being, an exciting time for you. But I do also see you doing some things more on the dolo, as they say, or solo mission, right? Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to take a look over here. Ooh, so we do have the satyr. Okay, so maybe a little bit of, and I'm question mark again. My goodness, what's going on with that? I almost kind of catch the vibe that there's maybe a little bit of jealousy. A little bit of jealousy. I know, I'm having a hard time saying that too loud. Jealousy? I don't know. I don't know. There seems to be maybe somebody around in the mix. We also have the number 23. So, I kind of feel like there's something going on where it seems I'm checking my sound. I don't know if it actually recorded the sound. I'm just realizing that my sound thing's not on. Oh, I hope that I didn't mess this up. I'll tell you what. I don't know what I'm doing with some of the, oh, there it goes. Oh, no, it's on. It's good. It's good. I figured it. I just realized I have recorded whole readings with the mic off. So you'll have to excuse me. Yes, I feel like somebody in your life who you usually have fun with. I think that this is somebody, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's somebody you're dating, maybe it's like a friend or whatever. But I feel like there is somebody else in their life, and maybe they just have a friend or, whatever it is. But I feel like there's a little bit of jealousy coming up. And I think that you really don't like to look at that part of yourself. Who does? Right? I know I am jealous sometimes. Not all the time. Most of the time I'm pretty just like, I don't know, self-absorbed. Or just really into, whatever my daughter's doing and what I have to do around the house and this and that. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely get jealous, especially with the wild comments on my husband's page sometimes. Woo! And I have said on here, I don't appreciate that, but you have to get used to it. Now we can just kind of laugh at it together when we're sitting in bed, but yeah, I'm jealous, and it's hard to admit that. I get it. But sometimes we do. And right when that feeling starts to come up, man, doesn't it make you feel like you're taking some steps back? Like, okay, I was just cruising and everything was cool and I wasn't feeling any kind of anything, right? Just, I was pretty happy or, at ease. And now all of a sudden, what is this feeling? What is this feeling? So I think that, this is maybe something to look at, maybe something to investigate a little bit. And then decide like how you're going to go forward with it. And I know, I imagine anyways, I can't say I know, but I imagine as a Cancer, you're going to notice how you feel and, kind of, okay, what can I do with this? I have a few choices here. I don't want to cause a war. I don't want to, start this whole thing. Do your due diligence if you feel like it's something that you have to investigate. Or, I see you kind of just getting on with things, And, but I think it's always an opportunity when we start to feel some type of way about somebody. Yeah, what is that? I think the other thing I have noticed about myself, and as I've gotten older, I've really realized this. A lot of times I confuse feeling jealous with knowing where I need to work on things with myself, It like highlights the places where I feel like I have been having trouble. Like, I don't know if I'm just having, a hard time really communicating well, or being open, or, pumping the brakes and deciding like I'm not gonna, be confrontational about something. I need to kind of be intentional. Like, I'm just gonna chill out here. I'm gonna let myself like get into a good place before I even start talking about anything. You know what I'm saying? So, I think a lot of times it's just like, it's not even about the other person. It's not about anybody but ourselves, right? It's like that sore place where you're like, oh, there's a wound there that I was not aware of. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And I just feel this rising kind of, I don't know, disposition, I guess, about things. So I feel like this is going to be a big win for you. Ultimately feeling a little jealous, maybe feeling like, what the heck? Why do I feel this way? Processing, and then, yeah, a little pat on the back. Like, hey, I handled this pretty well. I took this like kind of icky feeling and I made it, an experience where I could definitely like process and begin to integrate some of how I'm feeling about stuff, dealing with stuff, and so on and so forth. So to me, that's a win. Now we're going to go over here. I'm going to do 3 lucky numbers. Number 16, number 2, number 48. 16, 2, and 48. And we will end with our Indigo Sage affirmation cards. And I'll just flip and, ooh, I like this one with a little mushroom on it. And it says, number 26, flourishing imagination. With your sacred heart as a compass, soul bright, create the new, and so it is. And so it is. All right. Well, Cancer, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor. I love you very much. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, again, I'm going to tell you I love you, I love you, I love you. We're in this together, all right? We really are. I'm not laughing because I'm lying. I'm laughing because, yes, it's true. We might be on the Titanic. I don't know. Probably not. But, we're in this together. We're gonna do our very best. I promise. All right. Cancer, I love you. I'll see you in a few days. Good night.